What if the one ingredient almost everyone tells you to mix with turmeric isn't actually the best choice for your body? For years, black pepper has been promoted as the secret that unlocks turmeric's power. But what if science is beginning to point toward another natural companion, one that may support your body's response to inflammation in a gentler, more balanced way? The truth is, reducing inflammation isn't about chasing miracle ingredients. It's about understanding how natural compounds work together inside the human body. Today, we're going to explore an unexpected pairing that is gaining attention, what current research suggests, and why the answer may be far more fascinating than the popular advice you've heard. Imagine placing your hand on a hot surface for just a second. Before you even have time to think, your body has already begun protecting you. Blood rushes to the area, immune cells quickly arrive, and tiny chemical messengers start working together to repair the damaged tissue. This is inflammation in its natural form. It is not your enemy. In fact, it is one of the most remarkable survival systems the human body has ever developed. Without it, even a small cut could become life-threatening, and simple infections would be much harder to overcome. Inflammation is proof that your body is always paying attention, always watching, and always trying to keep you alive. The problem begins when this protective system never fully switches off. Instead of responding to a temporary injury or infection, the body continues sending signals that something is wrong, even when there is no immediate danger. This is what scientists call chronic inflammation. Unlike the swelling or redness you can easily see after an injury, chronic inflammation often works quietly beneath the surface. It may continue for months or even years without causing obvious symptoms in the beginning. That is why so many people never realize it may be influencing their health. Think of inflammation like a small campfire. A carefully controlled fire provides warmth, light, and protection. But if that same fire keeps burning without control, it slowly damages everything around it. In much the same way, healthy inflammation helps repair the body, while chronic inflammation may gradually affect tissues and organs over time. Researchers continue exploring its role in many long-term health conditions, including heart disease, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, and other chronic illnesses. Although inflammation is rarely the only cause, it is often an important part of the story. Modern life presents many challenges that our bodies were never designed to face continuously. Poor sleep, ongoing psychological stress, highly processed foods, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, physical inactivity, and carrying excess body fat can all contribute to a state where the body's inflammatory signals remain more active than they should be. None of these factors acts alone. Instead, they slowly interact with one another, creating an environment that encourages inflammation to persist. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent decades is that food does far more than provide calories. Every meal sends chemical messages throughout the body. Some foods support healthy balance, while others, especially when eaten in excess over long periods, may encourage processes linked with inflammation. Scientists are still uncovering the complexity of these interactions because nutrition is never about a single nutrient acting in isolation. Every food contains hundreds of natural compounds that work together in ways we are only beginning to understand. Among the many plants studied by researchers, turmeric has attracted remarkable attention. For thousands of years, this bright golden spice has been valued in traditional cooking and cultural practices across parts of Asia. Long before modern laboratories existed, people appreciated turmeric not only for its rich color and earthy flavor but also for its place in traditional wellness practices. Today, modern science is asking an important question: what exactly makes turmeric so biologically interesting? The answer centers on a group of naturally occurring plant compounds called curcuminoids, with curcumin being the most extensively researched. Curcumin is responsible for much of turmeric's distinctive yellow-orange color, but its importance goes beyond appearance. In laboratory experiments and many early-stage studies, curcumin has demonstrated antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Researchers have observed that it can interact with multiple biological pathways involved in the body's inflammatory response. Rather than targeting only one process, curcumin appears to influence several signaling systems at once, making it an intriguing subject for scientific investigation. Our immune system communicates through countless tiny chemical signals. These signals tell immune cells when to become active, when to repair tissue, and when to calm down after the job is complete. Scientists have found that curcumin may affect some of these communication pathways. Instead of acting like a powerful switch that simply turns inflammation off, it seems to help regulate how certain inflammatory processes are expressed under specific conditions. This difference is important because the goal is not to eliminate inflammation completely. A healthy body still needs inflammation to fight infections and heal injuries. The objective is balance, not elimination. Another reason turmeric continues to attract scientific interest is its antioxidant activity. Every day, normal metabolism produces unstable molecules known as free radicals. In small amounts, these molecules are part of normal biology. However, when they accumulate beyond the body's ability to manage them, they contribute to oxidative stress, which is closely connected with inflammation. Antioxidants help neutralize some of these unstable molecules, supporting the body's natural defense systems. Curcumin has shown antioxidant activity in laboratory settings, adding another layer to why researchers continue exploring its potential role in overall health. At the same time, it is important to separate scientific curiosity from exaggerated claims. Turmeric is not a miracle cure, and no reputable research suggests that simply adding more turmeric to your meals can instantly erase chronic inflammation or reverse disease. Human biology is far too complex for such simple promises. Many studies involving curcumin use carefully prepared extracts, standardized doses, or supplement forms that differ significantly from the turmeric powder commonly used in everyday cooking. Researchers also continue investigating questions about absorption, dosage, safety, and long-term effects because many aspects remain under active study. Even so, including turmeric as part of a varied, balanced diet can be a flavorful way to enjoy a spice that has a long culinary history and is supported by a growing body of scientific interest. Its value becomes much greater when viewed as one piece of a much larger picture that includes nutritious foods, regular physical activity, restorative sleep, effective stress management, and other healthy habits. This broader perspective reflects what many scientists now emphasize: lasting health rarely depends on one ingredient alone. Instead, it emerges from countless small choices that consistently support the body's natural ability to maintain balance. Perhaps the most inspiring lesson hidden within the science of inflammation is that the human body is not constantly working against us. Even when inflammation becomes chronic, the body is often responding to signals it interprets as important. It is adapting, protecting, and communicating in the only ways it knows how. Understanding these signals allows us to make choices that work with our biology instead of against it. Every nourishing meal, every restful night of sleep, every walk outdoors, and every thoughtful habit becomes another message telling the body that the environment is becoming safer, calmer, and more supportive of health. If you have ever searched online for ways to get the most out of turmeric, you have probably come across the same advice again and again. Almost every article, recipe, or health video seems to repeat one simple rule: always add black pepper. Over time, this idea has become so popular that many people now believe turmeric is almost useless without it. But science is often more detailed than popular headlines, and the real story is far more interesting than a simple kitchen tip. To understand why black pepper became so closely connected with turmeric, we first need to understand what happens after turmeric enters the body. Turmeric contains a natural compound called curcumin, which has attracted enormous scientific interest because of its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. However, researchers discovered an important challenge many years ago. Curcumin is not easily absorbed by the human body. After it is consumed, only a relatively small amount may enter the bloodstream because much of it is broken down and processed quickly by the digestive system and the liver. This characteristic is known as low bioavailability. In simple terms, bioavailability describes how much of a substance actually becomes available for the body to use after it has been eaten. This discovery raised an important question among scientists. If curcumin has promising biological properties in laboratory studies, how can more of it remain available inside the body? Researchers began testing different methods to improve absorption. Some experimented with special supplement formulations. Others explored nanoparticles, phospholipid complexes, or other advanced delivery systems. Among the simplest ideas was something that had been sitting in kitchens around the world for centuries: black pepper. Black pepper contains a naturally occurring compound called piperine. Piperine is responsible for much of black pepper's sharp, spicy flavor. But scientists found that it also affects the way certain substances are processed inside the digestive system. Early research suggested that piperine could significantly increase the amount of curcumin detected in the bloodstream after consumption. This finding quickly attracted attention because it offered a simple and inexpensive way to improve curcumin's bioavailability. As these results spread, they were repeated in books, health blogs, cooking videos, and social media posts. Before long, the combination of turmeric and black pepper became almost inseparable in the public imagination. Many people began adding black pepper to turmeric tea, smoothies, soups, and supplements without questioning why. The advice sounded logical. If more curcumin reaches the bloodstream, then the health benefits must automatically become greater. But this is where science encourages us to slow down and ask a deeper question. The human body is incredibly complex. Increasing the amount of a compound in the bloodstream does not always guarantee greater health benefits. Biology is rarely that straightforward. Many factors determine how a natural compound works inside the body, including where it travels, how long it remains active, how it interacts with cells, and how different individuals respond. Scientists continue studying these questions because they do not yet have all the answers. Piperine itself is an active biological compound. It does more than simply help curcumin stay in the body longer. It can influence the activity of certain enzymes involved in processing various substances. These enzymes help the body break down not only nutrients but also some medications. Because of this, piperine has the potential to affect how certain medicines are absorbed or metabolized. This does not mean black pepper is dangerous. Black pepper is a common culinary spice enjoyed safely by millions of people around the world every day. The concern arises mainly when concentrated piperine supplements or high doses are used, especially by people taking prescription medications. For example, someone who takes blood-thinning medications, medicines for blood pressure, diabetes treatments, or other long-term prescriptions should not assume that increasing piperine intake is always appropriate. Interactions are possible in some situations, which is why healthcare professionals often recommend discussing supplements with a qualified medical provider before using them regularly. Food and supplements may seem similar, but they can behave very differently inside the body depending on the amount consumed. Another important point is that most scientific studies showing dramatic increases in curcumin absorption used standardized extracts of both curcumin and piperine under controlled conditions. These studies were not always examining ordinary kitchen recipes made with a pinch of turmeric and a sprinkle of black pepper. Laboratory research helps scientists understand biological mechanisms, but translating those findings into everyday eating habits requires careful interpretation. What happens in a controlled study does not always produce the same results in daily life. Researchers are also learning that health is influenced by much more than absorption alone. The body responds to patterns of eating, overall diet quality, physical activity, sleep, stress levels, gut health, genetics, and countless other factors. Focusing only on one number, such as how much curcumin reaches the bloodstream, may overlook the broader picture. A healthy dietary pattern filled with vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, healthy fats, herbs, and spices may have a far greater impact on long-term well-being than relying on a single ingredient or combination. There is another fascinating aspect that is often overlooked. Turmeric itself contains hundreds of natural compounds besides curcumin. Scientists are increasingly interested in how these compounds work together inside the plant. This concept, sometimes called the food matrix, suggests that the health effects of whole foods may not be explained by one isolated chemical alone. Nature rarely packages nutrients individually. Instead, plants provide complex mixtures of substances that may complement one another in ways researchers are still exploring. This growing understanding reminds us that nutrition is not a competition between ingredients. Black pepper does not have to be viewed as either perfect or harmful. It is simply one spice with unique properties. For many people, using black pepper in normal cooking is a completely reasonable part of a balanced diet. At the same time, it is important not to turn one scientific observation into an absolute rule. The statement that turmeric is useless without black pepper is an oversimplification that current evidence does not fully support. Science often moves forward by replacing certainty with curiosity. Every new discovery answers one question while creating several new ones. Researchers continue investigating different ways to improve curcumin delivery. Comparing healthy fats, specialized formulations, fermented preparations, and other natural combinations. Some methods may prove more useful in specific situations than others. The goal is not simply to maximize absorption but to understand how turmeric fits into the larger context of human nutrition and health. Perhaps the most valuable lesson from this story is that scientific knowledge is always evolving. Ideas that seem settled today may become more refined tomorrow as better research becomes available. Rather than accepting popular advice without question, it is wiser to remain curious, examine the evidence carefully, and appreciate the remarkable complexity of the human body, where every nutrient, every meal, and every biological process becomes part of an intricate system designed not for shortcuts, but for balance. Now comes the question that surprises many people. If black pepper is not the only way to support turmeric, then what else deserves our attention? The answer is not another rare herb from a distant mountain or an expensive supplement that promises instant results. Instead, it may already be sitting in your kitchen. One of the most practical and scientifically sensible companions for turmeric is a source of healthy fat, particularly extra virgin olive oil. This idea receives far less attention than black pepper, yet it is supported by an important understanding of how the body digests and absorbs certain natural compounds. To understand why healthy fats matter, imagine pouring a spoonful of oil into a glass of water. The oil does not dissolve because it has a different chemical nature. Curcumin behaves in a similar way. It is not very soluble in water, but it dissolves much more easily in fats. Scientists describe curcumin as a fat-soluble compound. This simple characteristic helps explain why the way turmeric is prepared and eaten can influence how the body handles it. It is not only about what you eat, but also what you eat it with. When a meal contains healthy fats, the digestive system releases bile from the gallbladder. Bile acts like a natural helper that allows fat-soluble substances to mix more effectively during digestion. This process supports the absorption of compounds that would otherwise be more difficult for the body to utilize. Curcumin appears to benefit from this natural digestive process. Rather than forcing the body to absorb more through a single mechanism, healthy fats work with the body's normal physiology, supporting digestion in a way that is already built into human biology. Extra virgin olive oil is particularly interesting because it contributes much more than fat alone. It contains naturally occurring plant compounds known as polyphenol. These compounds have been studied for their antioxidant activity and their potential role in supporting a healthy inflammatory response. Scientists have long been interested in populations that regularly consume olive oil as part of traditional dietary patterns, particularly those associated with the Mediterranean region. Research consistently suggests that these eating patterns are linked with better long-term cardiovascular and metabolic health, although many lifestyle factors contribute to those outcomes. This means that combining turmeric with extra virgin olive oil is not simply about helping curcumin dissolve. It is also about bringing together two foods that each contain biologically active plant compounds. Instead of relying on one ingredient to perform all the work, the combination reflects a broader nutritional principle. Nature often works through partnerships rather than isolated substances. Foods interact with one another, complementing each other's strengths in ways that scientists continue exploring. Think about traditional cooking practices from different cultures. Many recipes gently cook turmeric in oil before adding other ingredients. For generations, people followed these methods because they created richer flavor, smoother texture, and more satisfying meals. Long before laboratories measured curcumin absorption, traditional cooks were already preparing turmeric in ways that modern science now finds biologically reasonable. While cultural traditions are not proof of medical benefit, they sometimes reflect practical observations developed over centuries of experience. Another healthy fat that deserves attention is avocado. Like olive oil, avocados contain predominantly unsaturated fats that fit well within balanced dietary patterns. They also provide fiber, potassium, vitamin E, and other nutrients that contribute to overall health. Pairing turmeric with avocado in salads, spreads, or smoothies creates a meal that offers far more than curcumin alone. Instead of focusing on a single nutrient, you create a combination of fiber, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds working together within one meal. Nuts and seeds can also play a similar supporting role. Almonds, walnuts, pistachios, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, and chia seeds provide healthy fats alongside protein, fiber, and a wide variety of micronutrients. Adding turmeric to dishes that include these foods creates diversity rather than dependence on one ingredient. Nutrition researchers increasingly emphasize dietary diversity because different plant foods contain different protective compounds. The wider the variety of foods in the diet, the broader the range of beneficial nutrients available to the body. This idea represents an important shift in thinking. For many years, health advice often focused on finding one superfood capable of solving complex health problems. Today, scientists increasingly recognize that no single food deserves that title. The body responds to overall dietary patterns much more than isolated ingredients. A spoonful of turmeric cannot compensate for years of poor sleep, chronic stress, smoking, or an unbalanced diet. Likewise, one serving of olive oil cannot erase the effects of unhealthy habits. Lasting health emerges from consistency rather than isolated actions. Researchers studying anti-inflammatory dietary patterns repeatedly observe similar themes. Meals rich in vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, healthy fats, herbs, and spices tend to provide a broad range of nutrients that support normal physiological function. These foods deliver vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants, and countless phytochemicals that interact in complex ways throughout the body. Turmeric becomes one meaningful part of this larger nutritional picture rather than the center of it. There is another advantage to choosing healthy fats over chasing extreme absorption strategies. Meals built around whole foods are generally more sustainable. Most people can realistically drizzle olive oil over roasted vegetables, prepare lentil soup with turmeric, enjoy avocado alongside colorful salads, or cook vegetables with a small amount of healthy oil. These habits fit naturally into everyday life without requiring expensive supplements or complicated routines. Sustainable habits are far more likely to produce lasting benefits than short periods of intense enthusiasm followed by abandonment. It is also worth remembering that cooking itself changes food in fascinating ways. Gentle heating of turmeric in oil may help release some of its natural compounds while creating flavors that encourage people to enjoy vegetables, beans, and whole grains more often. Healthy eating is not only about chemistry, it is also about pleasure, culture, family traditions, and meals that people genuinely look forward to eating. A nutritious diet should nourish both the body and the enjoyment of everyday life. Scientists continue investigating exactly how different fats influence curcumin absorption, how various cooking methods affect its stability, and how whole dietary patterns shape inflammation over many years. These questions remain active areas of research, and future discoveries will likely deepen our understanding even further. What remains consistent, however, is the growing appreciation that foods rarely act alone. They become part of an intricate network of interactions within the digestive system, the immune system, the gut microbiome, and countless biochemical pathways that together determine how the body responds. Perhaps that is the most powerful lesson hidden within this simple kitchen pairing. Instead of searching for one magical ingredient that transforms turmeric into a miracle remedy, it may be wiser to appreciate how ordinary foods support one another through natural partnerships. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, a handful of nuts, slices of avocado, and a colorful meal rich in whole plant foods remind us that good nutrition is not built on isolated heroes but on harmony, where every ingredient contributes its own small part to the remarkable symphony of human health. At this point, it becomes clear that no matter how promising turmeric may appear, it cannot do the work alone. This is one of the most important lessons modern health science continues to teach us. Many people hope that one spice, one supplement, or one special food will erase years of unhealthy habits. It is an understandable hope because simple solutions are comforting. But the human body does not operate through shortcuts. Every cell, every organ, and every biological system is constantly responding to thousands of signals created by the way we live each day. Inflammation is not controlled by a single meal or a single ingredient. It reflects the combined influence of our daily choices, repeated over months and years. Perhaps the most overlooked factor is sleep. While we sleep, the body performs some of its most remarkable repair work. Hormones become balanced, tissues recover, memories are organized, and the immune system carefully adjusts its activity. Scientists have found that even a few nights of poor sleep can influence inflammatory markers in the body. This does not mean one restless night will cause disease, but consistently sleeping too little may gradually place extra stress on the body's natural regulatory systems. Sleep is not simply a period of rest. It is an active biological process that allows the body to restore balance after the demands of the day. Think about how you feel after a night of insufficient sleep. You may notice lower energy, reduced concentration, greater irritability, or stronger cravings for sugary and highly processed foods. These changes are not just matters of willpower. They reflect real biological adjustments occurring throughout the body. Over time, these changes can influence metabolism, appetite, and immune function. This is why many health experts now consider quality sleep to be just as important as healthy nutrition. Movement is another powerful influence. The human body was designed to move regularly. Muscles, joints, the heart, lungs, and even the brain function more efficiently when physical activity becomes a normal part of everyday life. Regular movement supports healthy circulation, helps regulate blood sugar, maintains muscle strength, and contributes to emotional well-being. Research suggests that consistent moderate exercise may also support a healthy inflammatory response. Interestingly, extremely intense exercise without adequate recovery can temporarily increase inflammation, reminding us once again that health is often about balance rather than extremes. Exercise does not have to mean spending hours in a gym. A brisk walk through the neighborhood, climbing stairs, gardening, cycling, stretching, dancing, or playing with children all encourage the body to remain active. The most beneficial activity is often the one people genuinely enjoy because it becomes sustainable. Lasting health is rarely built through dramatic efforts performed once in a while. It grows from small actions repeated consistently. Another fascinating area of research involves the trillions of microorganisms living inside the digestive system, collectively known as the gut microbiome. These bacteria, fungi, and other microscopic organisms are not merely passengers. They participate in digestion, produce certain vitamins, interact with the immune system, and help maintain the protective lining of the intestines. Scientists continue discovering how deeply connected the gut microbiome is with many aspects of health, including inflammation. When the gut microbiome is diverse and balanced, it appears to support healthy communication between the digestive system and the immune system. A diet rich in vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and other fiber-rich foods provides nourishment for many beneficial bacteria. As these microorganisms break down dietary fiber, they produce compounds that may help maintain the health of the intestinal lining and support normal immune function. On the other hand, diets consistently low in fiber and high in heavily processed foods may reduce microbial diversity. Although many factors influence the microbiome and research in this area continues to evolve, stress also deserves careful attention. The human stress response evolved to protect us from immediate danger. If our ancestors encountered a serious threat, stress hormones prepared the body to react quickly by increasing alertness, heart rate, and energy availability. In the modern world, however, stress often comes not from short emergencies but from ongoing financial worries, work pressure, relationship difficulties, information overload, and countless daily responsibilities. When stress becomes constant, the body may remain in a prolonged state of heightened alertness. This prolonged activation influences many biological systems, including immune function. Chronic stress can affect sleep quality, eating habits, physical activity, and hormonal balance, creating a cycle that becomes difficult to interrupt. Managing stress does not require eliminating every challenge from life, which is impossible. Instead, it involves building habits that allow the nervous system to recover. Deep breathing, spending time in nature, meaningful conversations, prayer or meditation for those who practice it, enjoyable hobbies, and moments of quiet reflection may all contribute to emotional resilience. Even a few minutes of genuine relaxation each day can become valuable for overall well-being. Nutrition itself extends far beyond turmeric. Every colorful fruit and vegetable contributes unique vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and plant compounds. Dark leafy greens provide nutrients different from berries. Beans offer different benefits than tomatoes. Nuts differ from citrus fruits. No single food contains everything the body needs. This is why dietary variety is so strongly encouraged by nutrition experts. A colorful plate is not simply attractive to the eye. It often reflects a broader range of beneficial nutrients supporting different biological processes. Hydration also plays a quiet but essential role. Water supports circulation, temperature regulation, digestion, nutrient transport, and countless chemical reactions occurring every second inside the body. While water alone cannot eliminate inflammation, adequate hydration helps maintain the environment in which normal physiological functions occur. Simple habits such as drinking water regularly throughout the day can support overall health without requiring expensive products or complicated routines. Body weight is another factor often discussed in relation to inflammation. Excess body fat, particularly around the abdomen, is biologically active tissue rather than merely stored energy. It produces chemical signals that may contribute to ongoing low-grade inflammation. This is one reason why balanced eating and regular physical activity often improve health through multiple pathways at the same time. The goal should never be chasing unrealistic body ideals but supporting metabolic health through sustainable habits. Avoiding tobacco products and limiting excessive alcohol intake are equally important. Smoking introduces harmful substances that affect nearly every organ system, while excessive alcohol consumption may interfere with liver function, immune regulation, and many other physiological processes. Removing these burdens allows the body to direct more of its energy toward maintaining normal function rather than constantly responding to avoidable damage. When all these pieces are viewed together, an important pattern begins to emerge. Sleep, movement, nutrition, stress management, gut health, hydration, and other lifestyle habits are deeply interconnected. Improving one area often makes it easier to improve another. Better sleep provides more energy for exercise. Regular exercise reduces stress. Lower stress supports healthier food choices. Nutritious meals nourish the gut microbiome. A healthier gut may influence immune balance. Each positive habit strengthens the others, creating a cycle that gradually supports long-term well-being. This understanding transforms the way we think about inflammation. Instead of viewing it as an enemy to be defeated by one powerful ingredient, we begin seeing it as a conversation between the body and the environment we create every day. Every healthy choice becomes another message telling the body that resources are available, recovery is possible, and balance is worth protecting through the quiet power of ordinary habits practiced with patience, consistency, and care. After exploring the science behind inflammation, turmeric, black pepper, healthy fats, and the powerful influence of daily lifestyle habits, one important question naturally remains: how can all of this knowledge be applied in a practical and realistic way? Scientific information becomes truly valuable only when it helps people make better everyday decisions. The goal is not to create a perfect routine that is impossible to maintain. Instead, it is to build simple habits that support health over time while respecting the remarkable complexity of the human body. The first thing to remember is that turmeric is a spice before it is anything else. For thousands of years, people around the world have used it to add color, flavor, and aroma to everyday meals. Looking at turmeric through this traditional lens helps us develop a healthier perspective. Rather than treating it like a medicine capable of solving every health problem, it can be appreciated as one nutritious ingredient within a balanced and varied diet. This simple shift in thinking reduces unrealistic expectations and encourages long-term consistency. One of the easiest ways to include turmeric is by using it in regular cooking. It can be added to vegetable soups, lentil dishes, curries, rice, roasted vegetables, scrambled eggs, stews, and homemade sauces. A small amount often provides both flavor and vibrant color without overpowering the meal. Many people also enjoy adding turmeric to warm milk or plant-based beverages, creating drinks that have become popular in many parts of the world. The exact recipe is less important than creating meals that are enjoyable enough to prepare regularly. Moderation is another important principle. Some people assume that if a small amount of turmeric is beneficial, then consuming very large amounts must be even better. Human biology rarely works this way. Many natural substances provide benefits within reasonable amounts but may cause unwanted effects when taken excessively. Large quantities of turmeric may lead to digestive discomfort in some individuals, including stomach upset, bloating, or nausea. The body generally responds best to balance rather than extremes. Scientists continue studying the ideal amount of curcumin needed for different health purposes, and there is no single answer that applies to everyone. Research studies often use carefully measured extracts containing much higher concentrations of curcumin than ordinary culinary turmeric provides. This difference is important because results from supplement studies cannot automatically be applied to everyday cooking. Adding turmeric to meals is not the same as consuming concentrated capsules, and the two should not be viewed as interchangeable. This naturally leads to the topic of supplements. Turmeric supplements have become widely available, often marketed with impressive promises about reducing inflammation, improving joint health, boosting brain function, or preventing disease. While some research involving curcumin supplements has shown encouraging findings in specific situations, scientists continue emphasizing that evidence remains mixed for many health claims. More high-quality research is still needed to determine which people may benefit most, what doses are appropriate, and how long supplementation should continue. Supplements may be appropriate for some individuals under professional medical guidance, especially when they are being considered for specific health conditions. However, they are not necessary for everyone. A person eating a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, healthy fats, herbs, and spices may already be supporting many of the biological pathways involved in maintaining overall health. Supplements should never replace nutritious food, regular physical activity, or proper medical care. It is also essential to understand that natural does not always mean harmless. Many people believe that because turmeric comes from a plant, it can be taken in unlimited amounts without concern. In reality, even natural compounds can interact with medications or affect certain medical conditions. This is particularly true when turmeric or curcumin is consumed in concentrated supplement form rather than as a culinary spice. For example, individuals taking blood-thinning medications should exercise caution because curcumin may influence blood clotting mechanisms. People preparing for surgery are often advised to discuss supplement use with their healthcare provider well in advance of the procedure. Those taking medications for diabetes or blood pressure should also seek professional advice before starting high-dose supplements, as natural compounds can sometimes influence how these medicines work. These interactions do not occur in every case, but they highlight why individualized medical guidance is so valuable. People with gallbladder disease or certain digestive conditions may also need to be cautious. Turmeric can stimulate bile production, which may not be appropriate for everyone. Pregnant or breastfeeding individuals should likewise consult qualified healthcare professionals before using concentrated turmeric supplements because research regarding high-dose supplementation during these periods remains limited. These considerations are not meant to create fear but to encourage thoughtful decision-making based on individual circumstances. Another practical lesson involves expectations. In today's world, advertisements often promise dramatic results within days or weeks. This way of thinking encourages disappointment because lasting health rarely changes overnight. Chronic inflammation usually develops gradually over many years through the combined influence of lifestyle, environment, genetics, and aging. It is unrealistic to expect that one ingredient, even one as scientifically interesting as turmeric, could instantly reverse such a complex biological process. Instead of asking whether turmeric will transform your health by next week, it may be more helpful to ask whether your daily routine consistently supports your body's natural ability to function well. Every nutritious meal, every walk outdoors, every restful night of sleep, every moment spent managing stress, and every healthy choice contributes another small investment in long-term well-being. These individual actions may seem modest on their own, but together they create powerful cumulative effects over months and years. This perspective also encourages patience. The body is constantly repairing tissues, replacing cells, balancing hormones, adjusting immune activity, and adapting to changing conditions. Many of these processes occur quietly without producing dramatic or immediate sensations. Health often improves gradually, making progress easy to overlook. Yet the absence of instant results does not mean positive changes are not occurring beneath the surface. Building sustainable habits is far more valuable than pursuing perfection. Missing one healthy meal or skipping one day of exercise does not erase months of consistent effort. Likewise, eating turmeric occasionally is not a magical solution if the rest of the lifestyle remains unhealthy. Progress comes from returning to beneficial habits repeatedly rather than expecting flawless discipline every single day. Perhaps the most encouraging aspect of modern health science is that many protective habits are available to almost everyone. choosing more vegetables, preparing meals at home, using herbs and spices generously, drinking enough water, walking regularly, sleeping consistently, reducing tobacco exposure, limiting excessive alcohol intake, and finding healthy ways to manage stress require commitment. But they do not depend on miracle products or complicated technology. They represent ordinary actions that gradually shape extraordinary outcomes. As research continues to evolve, scientists will undoubtedly discover new details about turmeric, curcumin, nutrition, and inflammation. Future studies may answer questions that remain uncertain today while opening entirely new areas of investigation. This ongoing process is one of the strengths of science. It continually refines our understanding rather than remaining fixed. Remaining curious, open-minded, and willing to adapt as stronger evidence emerges allows us to make decisions grounded in knowledge instead of trends. In the end, turmeric deserves appreciation not because it performs miracles, but because it reminds us of something much larger. Good health is rarely created by one extraordinary discovery. It grows through countless ordinary choices made with awareness, patience, and consistency, where every balanced meal, every healthy habit, and every thoughtful decision becomes another quiet expression of respect for the remarkable body that works tirelessly to protect, heal, and sustain us throughout every stage of life. This video is intended for educational and informational purposes only and is not medical advice. The information presented is based on current scientific research, but individual health needs can vary. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making significant changes to your diet, taking supplements, or starting any new health routine, especially if you are pregnant, nursing, have a medical condition, or take prescription medications. Never stop or change prescribed treatment without the guidance of your healthcare provider.